It's time for Grizz Beat, a full court press of highlights, insights, news, and scoops covering the Grizzlies and the NBA. Catch up each week on the latest Grizz buzz with regional and national insiders locked in on our squad. Running point from Grind City Media Studios, our host, Jarvis Greer.
Back from spring break, baby. Took the grandkids out of town, all around town, having fun. But, man, these Grizzlies, we got to get ready for the stretch run. I'm Jarvis Greer. We're ready to go for another edition of Grizz Beat. And, as always, a power-packed crew in studio with us today, starting with, to my left, the indefatigable Greg Gaston Sr. from Sports 656. You can hear him every morning with Greg and Eli. What is that time slot, Greg?
7 to 10, Monday through Friday. Stop making up words.
Making up. Indefatigable is a word. That means you cannot be fatigued.
There you go.
Yeah, you know, you're high on the playlist, and we're proud to have you in here. Also joining us is the guru of Grind City Media himself, the great and the only and the wonderful Michael Wallace. Michael Wallace is back in the chair. You subbed in for me. I thought I was going to have a Wally Pipp moment. I wouldn't be able to get back. You got Lou Gehrig coming in, taking over, and the streak begins. But I listened to the podcast while we were on spring break, and it was really good, man. You guys did a great job. You had Cody in last week, and now we're talking about getting ready for this stretch run. 13 games left in the regular season. We are ready to go, right? Are we ready?
We better be, because the games are definitely not going to stop if we're not, right?
Yeah,
they're going to keep coming
right.
relentlessly. But nah, man, welcome back, man. You had a nice little spring break there with the grandkids, and I always love to hear those stories that you tell about being out there with your family, man. That was great. We held it down, but that's your seat.
Well,
that's your
appreciate
seat.
it.
That's no one's seats but yours.
I got plenty of pictures to show you, but we'll share those later. But let's go ahead and get with it. The Grizzlies on the road tonight at the Portland Trailblazers. Now, this is a team that the Grizzlies have whooped up on this season, but Portland is playing better here of late. The Grizzlies, unfortunately, are not. Starring for Portland, Anthony Simons. His name is Anthony. That's right. They named him after Penny Hardaway. His mama said, hey, I like this kid Penny. I'm going to name my son Penny. No, they didn't name him Penny. They named him Anthony because that's Penny's real name. Scored 30 points plus in 5 of the last 8 games. This dude's a baller, y'all. Shot 46% from the three-point range. And the Blazers are 17-11 since January 19. Now, you wouldn't have believed that from the first couple of times the Grizzlies played them, because they basically wiped them off the floor. But they are within 3 games of the West final playoff spot now with this recent hot streak. The Grizz, like I said, 2-0 against the Blazers so far this season, averaging 128.5 points per game in the victories. Guys, this Portland team going to be a problem tonight, Greg. You know, the way that the Grizzlies have been playing lately. We got the injury report. Ja's going to be out again with the hamstring, but Santi may come back, and that would be a help for Memphis if you can get Santi Aldama back.
They can really use Santi. They have been missing him. But for Portland, the graphic says it all. 17-11 in their last 28 games. This is not the same team that the Grizzlies destroyed twice earlier in the season. I give a lot of credit to that organization, to Chauncey Billups, and what those players are doing. Instead of waving the white flag and looking forward to the draft, although they're probably looking forward to the draft, they are playing good basketball. And if the Grizzlies come in there thinking that this is going to be a pushover, they could walk away with an L. They have to hunker down and do what they need to do to win this game.
Yeah, the way the Grizzlies are playing right now, they can't think anything's just going to be an automatic W for Memphis. And we're going to get a little Edie and Donovan Clingan tonight action.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, too. This will be one of those times where you have the 2 top centers that were picked. Sarr obviously went 2nd overall to the Washington Wizards, but this was the debate right here. Did the Grizzlies want or prefer Clingan and then ended up with Edie, or did they always want Edie all along? Clingan has played pretty well, and Zach Edey has played well as well, too. So these are going to be 2 big 7'2" plus players going at it in the post, man. And it's going to be an intriguing game, because I don't think the Portland Trailblazers just want to roll over. They see that 10th spot in the play-in is something that they can pursue. Only 3 games back. Dallas doesn't really have the health to hold on to it. We'll get into that later. And Phoenix is not just gunning for it. So it's almost like if they're a team that wants it, Portland has a chance to do it, and a win over the Grizzlies tonight will go a long way in helping them do that.
Plus, they get that crowd up there in the Moda Center. Used to be the Rose Garden, but that they really love that team up there in Portland, because that's been their only franchise. That's their claim to fame, much like Memphis with the Grizzlies. They have, one of the top major professional leagues. They have the NBA. They've had it for a good long time. They've won a title. It's a proud franchise, and the fans don't want them to tank. They want them to win. Yeah. And these players are going out there. You see 17 and 11 coming down the stretch here. What is it going to take, Greg, in your opinion, for, looking at the Grizzlies roster, such it is, with, it looks like you may get Santi back. He's been upgraded to questionable. And I think Santi's more of a bigger factor in what they've done defensively, because the defense just hasn't been there lately. They're going to have to play some defense against this group tonight.
Yeah, not only tonight, but the rest of the way. They're going to have to figure out this defense. There's been some issues. I don't know exactly what it is. I think Santi helps. It doesn't cure all the ills. Vince Williams, the hope was when he was coming back that he would restore some of that defensive intensity on the perimeter. That has yet to materialize. They got to figure out how to be a little bit more physical when it comes to some of these teams. They're going to play the Clippers coming up later in the week, and that's a physical team, and they're going to have to play physically once the playoffs come around. So, they got to find their way defensively first and foremost. Scoring has not really been an issue. We've had a couple of players individually go off here recently with big nights points-wise, but I think it's all about the defense. If they can find some stability and some consistency defensively, I think they have a good chance.
You mentioned Vince Williams, and I know you've seen Michael Wallace, the guru of Grind City Media, that, it's like, well, he was one of the wings that the Grizzlies were counting on coming into the season, right? Mm-hmm. But then, boom, he gets the leg injury, the hip injury. He's out for misses the bulk of a lot of the very first half of the season, then sprains the high ankle sprain. There's another 6 weeks he's out. And since he's back on the court, it just doesn't seem like he's got that quickness that was, this was a guy that was all over the court defensively. He's got length, he's got the good long wingspan. Doesn't have to be the tallest guy in the world, but he was getting a lot of rebounds. He's getting in the way defensively. But that first step just hasn't been there for him.
It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle for Vince, and he admits that. He's still dealing with some things with his body. It takes a long time for you to recalibrate, when you're playing at that top level like that. And, this is a guy, again, he had a promising 2 years ago when he was healthy. Then he hasn't been healthy since. And fighting to stay healthy is something that he's been able to he's been challenged with doing. Ja Morant has been challenged with that. Jaren has been healthy, but now he's, trying to work his way back from that too. So, Vince is one of the heads of the snake of the defense out on the perimeter. Right. And when you don't have that, it makes it tougher on the backline guys too.
Well, Vince he is one of the main reasons they let Marcus Smart go, because they thought Marcus Smart was going to be that veteran presence and the guy you already knew he could play defense. Well, but Marcus Smart ended up with the finger injury and didn't really play. So you never really got a chance to see Marcus with the core three guys, Jaren, Dez, and Ja. And so they had to make a decision, and we'll go with the youth because they know they got to pay Jaren coming up here. But nobody can stay healthy, and that's been the biggest thing that's been a problem with the Grizzlies here lately. But speaking of health, Jaren Jackson Jr. has trying to get his rhythm back together after he had missed some games with an ankle injury, but he is averaging 18.6 points per game, 3 rebounds, and he's shooting 56.4% in his 3 games back from that ankle injury. He missed 5 games, and that was a tough stretch for the Grizz, March 5 through the 12th with that grade 2 ankle sprain, and we're all glad that he's back because he could still be out with a grade 2, but he's worked really hard and got himself back on the floor, and he is on pace to qualify for the NBA postseason awards. I think how many more games? You have to play 65. How many more games does he need to play? Well, I think, 3-4 more to get to that level?
A handful.
So he's only got a handful left, and there's 13 games left in the regular season, including tonight. So Jaren is looking pretty good, but he talked to our own Grind City Media personnel about what it's going to take for him to get his rhythm back.
Jaren, you were in such a rhythm. I think you had 57 or 59 straight games after missing those first 2 with a hamstring. What do you have to do to sort of get yourself back to that level, particularly with less than a month left before you get to the playoffs?
Level of like what?
That durability, that dominance, that two-way, that impact, that leading scorer, leading rebounder, primary defensive voice, all of those things. How much do you have to regain to get back to that level?
I don't think it'll take me long. Hopefully it don't. It starts with just winning while I'm out there. I'm glad we were winning when I wasn't. I'm glad we were winning these last 4, but I got to be able to go out there and make an impact so that we can win more games.
Jared, against the top 3 teams in the league, you guys obviously went to Boston and won, but 0-5 now against OKC and Cleveland combined. What do you make of, I guess, what's missing against teams of that caliber?
I mean, they're good teams. They're on a roll, and we just got to be better defensively in those situations. We can't make excuses about anything. Even if we're not shooting well, we got to be able to guard. So, yeah, credit to them.
Jerry, my brother, I know you're a fashion icon, but what in the heck? Yeah, he's got like the bullet holes in the shirt and his cutoffs there. But hey, whatever works for him. But obviously that interview was done after a loss because he was not his jovial self.
Right.
But you can see what he's trying to say, and just trying to get the rhythm and trying to get his feet back set. His first game back against Cleveland was not very good, but then the next game against Miami, he had 31 points and looked like four block shot. Looked like the trip that we all want to see, know, and love, and hopefully going into the playoffs, that's the kind of dude he's going to be.
Well, Cleveland will make a lot of people look not like themselves, but Tripp's been the most consistent player on this team. He missed the 5 games, but he's been there from the start. He's putting up the numbers. I'd like to see him rebound a little bit more. I know he would like to rebound a little bit more, but he's a key player for this team, and he hit it right on the head about the defensive intensity. They lost that Cleveland game because of that. They got to figure it out. They got to dig down deep in their soul and figure out what they're doing wrong, and that's why Taylor Jenkins and that staff are working hard with these guys to try to figure out what those answers may be, and hopefully they'll find them. But while I think Ja Morant's the most important player for this team to make a good run and a long run in the postseason, Jaren Jackson Jr. has to be consistent, and he's been for the most part this season.
Yeah, that's right. You got to have that guy you can count. You can throw the ball into the post. He's going to get something done. You saw his numbers at 56% shooting. That includes, from downtown.
Right.
And remember, Jaren, when he first came in the league, Michael Wallace said his numbers inside the paint were not that good. It's totally opposite now. That dude, when he's going to the bucket, you just about can count it as 2.
And you've seen Jaren grow up, Jarvis. You talked about that. You've seen him grow up over the course of his 7-8 years in the NBA now. I mean, this is a kid that came in at 18, 19 years old in 2018, and we're 2025 now. So 7 years later,
he's got his man muscles now.
You're seeing a grown man.
Yep.
And the thing about, and Greg, you made a good point. The thing about Jaren and John, people kind of want to discuss who's more important and those kind of things. They're both essential for the Grizzlies.
Sure.
Jaren is the floor. When you talk about floor and ceilings, right? Jaren is the foundation of this team. He makes sure that your floor is not going to dip too far below. You're not going to be a lottery team. You're not going to be an embarrassment as a franchise because of what he provides both in leadership and play. So he provides the foundation of the floor. Ja gives you your ceiling.
Right.
How high can this thing go from here? If you're talking about championships, it's because of the kind of talent that Ja puts you over the top to potentially have. The key for both of these guys, including Desmond Bane, has been availability. Yeah. Can they be available enough to give you your full runway of what you need to get to the championship?
And, if you look at it, Jaren's also he is eligible for, he hits that 65 game mark, he's eligible for Defensive Player of the Year, All NBA, the postseason awards.
Big contract as well.
Yeah, that's correct. He could get the super max,
right,
which for Jaren would be over $300 million, I believe.
Yeah,
and if you look at it, if you look at this Grizzlies team, when he's on the floor, what they are defensively, and when he's not on the floor, what they are defensively, that's where you said, Michael Wallace, he gives you that floor that you can count on. That's your anchor. That's your rock right there. Ja is the pistachio nuts. He's the the whipped cream on the hot chocolate. He's coming in there, and if he's popping off, then there is no telling how far this team could go because nobody can stop him. But you got to have that rock there in the middle to have you a solid foundation.
Yeah, and just very quickly, Michael hit it on the head. Absolutely hit it on the head. You need all 3 of these guys. Yeah. The stability of Jaren Jackson Jr., Des Bane, we know when he is on, he is on. And then Ja Morant can take you to that next level. But they have to be playing together for a number of games, and it just hasn't materialized over the last few years. Hopefully that will be the case once the postseason begins.
Well, it's going to have to be. And the thing is, we've seen Grizzlies have big games, the core 3 now, I guess we can say, Ja, Darren, Jez. We've seen them individually have big games, but the other guys weren't on the floor. Like Ja had a 44-point game against Cleveland. 14 of 17, am I right, from the floor? Ja was doing everything, but there was no other help. Desmond Bane coming up here, their last game on the road at Sacramento. We can show you. Desmond had just one of those games for the ages. 44 points he scored, including 20 in the second quarter. He had like 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 7 3-pointers made. It was like an incredible game, but nobody was coming along to help him out. And, he is. And it was a historic game, by the way. He's the first player in franchise history to record these kinds of numbers, 40-plus points, 5+ 3-pointers made, or 100% shooting from 3. First one to do that in a single game in Grizzlies history, but the Grizz end up taking the L in that game because nobody else was ready to run along with him. And that's, like you said, availability. That's been the one bugaboo for the Grizz this year.
It has been. And, Jarvis, you pointed it out. Each one of these guys over the last 2 weeks, each one of them has had a 40-plus point game.
Yeah, big.
Jaren had one, Dez had one, and Ja had one. The Grizzlies are 0-3 in those games.
Yeah,
they haven't been able to win any of those games when those 3 guys went for 40-plus because one of the other 2 have not been alongside of them.
There.
They haven't. None of those 40-point games came when all 3 of the guys were available.
Wow, that's a great point.
So Ja was out.
On Jaren's
night
against San Antonio.
Right.
Yeah.
Dez, when Ja went for 40. It was against Cleveland, right? And neither one of those guys really had a good game alongside of him. And then when
Jaren just coming back.
Jaren was just coming back, so he wasn't right. Dez didn't have a great game, and then obviously when Dez got his, Ja was out. So
Ja
it's
was
almost
out,
like,
and Jaren was in foul trouble. He
Jaren
didn't
was
really
in
play
foul
that
trouble.
much.
So you got maybe 2.5 guys at most when it comes to that.
So
But
all
that's
the bottom line out of that, I think you're saying, Mike, all these guys are capable of leading you, to where you want to go, but they need some help along the path. Yeah. To get them there. It's like the Sherpas, you're going up Mount Everest. You got to have a Sherpa. You can't have everybody be, Sir Edmund Hillary or what. I think that was the dude.
Yes.
He's the one that
Mount
gets credit.
Everest, right?
The Sherpa was up there first.
Yes.
Now, let me get that. Let's get that straight to business. But go ahead.
But yes, that's the point. How many times we talk about it in sports where you'll hear, let the one guy go off. That's fine as long as we keep everybody else in check. And when you have a situation where the big 3's not all playing together, well, one of them you don't have to worry about. You just have to worry about the other. So even though you have a guy, in this case, most recently Des Bane go off for 44, it doesn't matter because everybody else is held in check.
That's great. Talking about holding people in check, we got to do this right now. It's time for one of the new segments we've started here on Grizz Beat. That is the 24-second shot clock violation. We have 24 seconds to come up with our own reasons for what this or what that. And the question this week is, what is the biggest concern about the Grizzlies for the last 13 games, including tonight at Portland? And we're going to start out with Greg Gaston. We're going to put you on the clock. It's the 24-second shot clock. Greg Gaston, go.
The obvious thing is to say health, right? They have to be healthy. The big 3 have to be healthy. But that's a cop-out, me just saying that. I'll say this, 13 games to go. Stay out of the 4-5 game. You do not want to play Oklahoma City in the second round. Am I scared of Oklahoma City? Yes, I am. I'll be honest with you. Stay away from that game. And if the Grizzlies can get 2 or 3, they'll be better off.
All right, that's it for Greg Gaston. And he gets in under the buzzer. I hear you. Kind of like Alabama State last night. You beat the clock. Congrats to Tony Madlock and crew, by the way, down there. Amar Knox out of Bar. He signed with Memphis originally.
Yes, sir.
But then he decided to go down. It's a good decision for the young man. Happy for him. All right, so we'll go to the guru of Grind City Media himself right now, Michael Wallace. You have 24 seconds. Your biggest concern for the Grizzlies in the last 13. Go.
Continuity. There have not been enough games this season where you've had Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. available playing together. We know what those guys can do when they're collective, and when they're together, they are boosted by the best bench and the most productive bench in the NBA. But you've only seen Ja, Jaren, and Dez together 30 times, and when you include Santi Aldama, that's only 22 times. That's not enough. They got to get that right.
Oh, man, beat the clock, did he? I tell you, these guys are on a roll right now. All right, it's my turn. The pressure's on. I'm going to say, if you who wants to hit me with to start the clock?
It's already started.
Oh,
you
clock's
gotta go.
going. Okay, well, all right, I'm going to say a combination of what you guys said. I'm saying it's got to be continuity. I'm saying it's got to be health, but it's got to be defense. You got to play defense. Mm-hmm. Defense wins championships. Offense sells. The offense is great, but the Grizzlies have not been playing that kind of defense that we know that they can play, especially under Taylor Jenkins. They've been in the tops of the league ever since he's been coached. Did that make it?
You made it.
Close, very close.
You made it.
Did I get the tie break on there? All right, so we're going to take a break right now, and we're going to come back on Grizz Beat. We're going to have a special guest for you that you will want to see, so you want to hold on. It's coming up right after the break.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
We are in March, which is Women's History Month.
True.
And we were talking about how do we kick off the show? What can we talk about? And we were like, why don't we talk about women's shoes? The Sabrina one.
Okay. Can't go wrong.
Right?
That's a good shoe.
And the two, you could argue, is even better. But the one's
you can't
fine.
have the two without the one.
Yeah.
Though.
In the month of February, the Sabrina 2 was the second most worn shoe in the NBA in minutes played. The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Hey fam, Grizzlies games are going statewide for free. Fans can now watch select Grizzlies games over the air in Tennessee's largest markets. Yeah, that includes WMC Action News 5 right here in Memphis, WSMV Channel 4 in Nashville, and WBXX Knoxville's The CW and My VLT on channels 20.1 and 8.2. That's over in Knoxville, Tennessee. Tune in to catch your Grizzlies down the stretch as they battle for top seed in the Western Conference playoff race. Do not miss a second of heart-pounding action with the Grizzlies. Their next televised matchup coming up Thursday, March 27th, when the Grizzlies will battle the Oklahoma City Thunder at 7 o'clock. Visit grizzlies.com/watch for more information.
Welcome back to Grizz Beat right here at Grind City Media's in the studios at FedEx Forum. For Jarvis Greer, Greg Gaston, I'm Michael Wallace. And now it's time for us to go around the NBA as I bring in longtime colleague, man. He's one of the legends in terms of this NBA reporting space. He's been doing it for decades. When anyone asks about the modern athletes and all this greatness that we talk about today, he's the first one to say, but Wilt did it first. Let me bring in my guy from NBA.com, senior reporter, NBA reporter, Steve Ashburner. Steve, thanks a lot, man. No, that is not Greg Popovich that we brought into the show.
A doppelganger.
It's Greg Popovich's cousin right there. Steve, thanks a lot for joining us, man. Welcome to Grizz Beat. And let me start off right here. All pleasantries and respect for everything that you've done to cover this league for a long, long time. And I was only halfway joking about the Greg Popovich reference because that's where I wanted to start with you. The news has come out that Greg Popovich is angling and pushing potentially for a return to the sideline. We don't know when. We don't know at what point. Probably not this season as they finish out outside of the play-in playoff mix with the Spurs there. But what are your thoughts on that Popovich story there? And do you feel like he needs to come back? Do you think this is just something he should be given the opportunity to do because of respect? What do you make of Greg Popovich and his future with the San Antonio Spurs?
Yeah, hi, I'm Michael, and everybody else. Thanks for having me. It would be so far beyond my my scope to try to assess whether he needs to come back. I will say that he certainly should have the right to come back. This is a medical condition. If he recovers enough from it to be able to do that job, as stressful and as involving and devouring as it can be as an NBA head coach, It should be his call. He's earned that. It shouldn't matter about his age. It shouldn't matter about the medical condition. I mean, a stroke is a stroke. It's nothing to be trifled with. But if he's able to recover enough, I mean, these teams have about 14 assistants nowadays. It would seem that Greg Popovich would be a valuable asset. Whether he needs it or not, we can all sit here and speculate that at this stage of his life, he had a wife who passed away several years ago. He certainly had stuck around through some lean times to get them in a position to get Victor Wembanyama, and now with Stephon Castle and some other potential pieces, De'Aaron Fox added to this team now in his absence. It would seem that maybe Pop would like that adrenaline high of coaching a team with some serious ambitions again. I mean, what playoff position would be the first step, and then they take it from there. I'm not going to put any sort of ceiling on his ability to do the job. He'll know. I think they've already acknowledged that he's out for the rest of this year. But if it's something to work for, if that's a brass ring or an apple to aspire to, go for it for fall. And I'm sure that they will reevaluate when the time is right.
Hey, Steve.
Hi.
So my question for you is, Paul George just got shut down the other day by Philly. It's been a disaster. Who's to blame in Philadelphia, and what do you see happening here in the not-too-distant future?
Well, who's to blame? I mean, I guess you have to put first responsibility on the player, right? The player is supposed to live up to expectations. He's supposed to properly assess himself, and frankly, at these wages, bust a gut to be the best possible performer for a team. But knowing all that, I mean, then it comes down to management. Front office decided they wanted to invest more than $200 million in Paul George at this point in his career. He'd had a history of injuries in the past. Somebody there did not push him to put his podcast aside. I mean, it made headlines a few weeks ago when he decided to do that and get serious. Well, I would think you want to get serious around September, not February. And it is a disaster. And when you look at, Joel Embiid's injury history, to put another fragile type player alongside him, that to me is mismanagement. So I don't know what they do. They're going to be on the hook to Paul George for a long, long time. It's a mess there. They have a couple of bright spots, with Maxey and Grimes and a couple other guys that have shown out during these lean schedule. But it is a mess. I mean, Joel Embiid, whatever it takes, needs to have a LeBron James conditioning type of summer and truly come in leaner, lighter, healthier than he's ever been in his career. Or I think he's going to be one of the great what-if stories in recent NBA memory.
Hey, great answer. Hey, Steve, this is Jarvis coming to you. Listen, there's some rumors swirling around about KD. Kevin Durant may be, this may be it for him in Phoenix. We were talking about messes. That's been a mess there because of the money they spent and the results that they're getting. They're not really getting any results. Do you think this is it for KD? Is the sun going to set on him in Phoenix? I know that he said he don't want to move, and he doesn't. He don't want to get traded. He's moved enough. You think he says another year in the Valley?
I mean, that could happen. How do they fix this, though? The guy that they should trade, they can't trade, Bradley Beal. And so now you look to Kevin Durant or Devin Booker. Well, Devin Booker's got the most upside of that three, and he's quite beloved. He's homegrown talent for them. Kevin Durant has been a mercenary, a soldier of fortune in this league. I would think he could be sold on or persuaded by another franchise. I mean, he would look awfully good on several aspiring teams. If you put him on the Houston Rockets, for instance, and they've got a wealth of assets when it comes to a deep roster, that to me would make a lot of sense. I don't know why all of a sudden Kevin Durant wants to plant his heels when he has moved around, either his choice or other teams' choices so much in his career. I mean, he started out in Seattle, ended up in OKC, on to Brooklyn, Golden State, in between, and then Phoenix now. So it's sort of like, well, is a different zip code really going to matter in terms of legacy or anything? And I don't know how he could possibly enjoying what the Phoenix Suns are going through or look forward to what they're going to face.
The other teams, would they be willing to part with a lot to get KD? Because it's going to take a lot to get him. And what is he, 35, 36 now? How much more gas does he have in the tank?
Well, I think he's 37, but at a point where we watch LeBron play at 40 and play extremely well, Kevin Durant, he doesn't have an ounce of body fat on him. His game is so much related to his smooth shooting stroke and being able to see the rim over just about anybody. I don't think, and that hasn't been based on just his vertical leap. I mean, it's just he's long and he releases the ball high. I think he could be one of those guys that plays another 3 or 4 years without a problem. Now, how much do you want to give? I guess that's you decide how close you think you are and how many games he could add in the victory column and put you over the top. But I think Phoenix could get a pretty good return for Kevin Durant. I think they'd get a bundle for Devin Booker, but it would take a bundle, in my view, for them to move him. I mean, then you're starting from scratch. At least if you move Durant, you now have a centerpiece still in Booker to build around.
Hey, Steve, can both of these statements be true? Nikola Jokic is the best player on the planet. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the best player currently in the NBA and will win the MVP.
You know what? Very close. The way I would have put it is Jokic is the best player on the planet, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the most valuable player of this season. To me, this is very much like the year Derrick Rose won the MVP in the middle of 5 remarkable years by LeBron James. LeBron won 2 MVPs, Rose won in the middle, and then LeBron won 2 more in Miami. And to me, it's very reminiscent of that because the Bulls that year, they had the number 1 seed in the East. They exceeded expectations. Rose sort of bubbled up as obviously there was a narrative involved, but also just a remarkable player at 6'2", and the things he did. He was a pre-Ja Morant player. We used to compare Morant to Derrick Rose. Now I think we compare Rose, the guy we remember, to Morant because Ja's so established. But yeah, I think for me, and I vote for all these awards, that's how I'm leaning right now, is that it's not voter fatigue. I have no problem voting Jokic a 4th MVP if Shai wasn't doing what he's doing. But when you look at the gap in the standings between the Thunder and the Nuggets, and just the way he has sort of crystallized that team, he's a homegrown. Well, they picked him up in a trade, but in terms of what they thought they were going to need to do, they thought they were going to have to package a bunch of draft picks, and this was a few years ago, and get that star player that all these role players would play around. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I mean, he shorthanded that, and he became that guy, and it has saved Oklahoma City, unnecessary squandering of draft picks or solid role players. So I think SGA has done everything you would expect: a scoring title and the top seed probably overall in the league. To me, that screams MVP. No matter who else is in the league. I mean, even if Wilt were around.
Oh, wow.
Man, and that's perfect timing, Steve, because I'll get you out of here on this one, man. I knew we were going to get a Wilt reference at some point from you. I was starting to get disappointed. You were down to the shot clock right there. But
he saw Wilt's 100-point game, didn't he?
Hey, probably did, man. Hey, did you write the sign? Steve, did you write the sign 100? Did you write the 100 on the paper for Wilt that night?
I'm a self-appointed Wilt advocate because he was my favorite player. My lights came on as an NBA fan. Grew up in Chicago. He was with the Lakers. I'd watch those late night games from the West Coast, the Fabulous Forum. He would beat the Bulls. He was a relative shell of himself. He was a defender and a rebounder, and I just was fascinated. I mean, maybe it was the headband that got my attention in the first place, but I just think that having been in this business for quite a while, and even when I started, I sort of took pride in learning what had come before. And I see so much of the history of now in our culture, and people want to, I don't know what it is, it's fear of missing out, and they don't want to think that some great things happened before they were around or paying attention. But there was a lot of great stuff going on in the NBA, and any GOAT discussion that doesn't include Wilt, I don't know who your top 2 or 3 or 4 players might be, but if it doesn't include Wilt, then you're revealing to me either you don't know about what came before or you don't care. So anyway, I try to keep Wilt's memory alive. It's ridiculous that a giant of the game would even need that, but it feels like in social media particularly, yeah, it's something that I just decided I'm going to be, the deputy of the Wilt record book.
Hey, you inspired me. You inspired me to go and read Wilt's autobiography, man. So I had to go back and actually hear his words and how he, sort of looked at his career. But I wanted to get you out of here on this, though, because we could talk all day. But another ballot that you're going to have your hands full, and you've been writing about this periodically throughout the season, is the Rookie of the Year ballot. And I know that, you have a tremendous amount of respect for the rookies that the Grizzlies have, in both Jalen Wells, who's pretty much come from, from obscurity in a lot of ways to get to as high as number 2 on your rookie ladder, and also Zach Edey. But Stephon Castle has been up there number 1. Sarr was up there number 1. Where do you see Jalen Wells with a dozen or so games left legitimately having a shot to unseat whoever is at number 1? What has to happen between now and then for you to put him at number 1?
Well, he's picked a poor time to have a shooting slump. And, that hurts at this point. But, I mean, he's a tremendous success story. This rookie class was not considered to be all that great. And to have a guy like him bubble up from, I think he was a number 39 pick, it's pretty impressive. And for quite a while, I was thinking this could be a Malcolm Brogdon situation where Brogdon ended up as Rookie of the Year. He split some of the ballots, and I think somebody was missing. Ben Simmons might have missed that year when he was the presumptive favorite. And, Jalen Wells has nothing to apologize for. Tremendous two-way player. I want him on my team. I think that Stephon Castle, particularly now with Fox out on top of Wembanyama, I mean, he can pack the stat sheet. And that might not fool a lot of us, but it's going to make his numbers even more formidable than they are. He has scored more points than any other rookie. He's taken more shots than any other rookie. I think Wells, just keep helping them win. I mean, he's got more victories than any of the guys in the class of 2024. And ultimately, that's what this is about. And he'll be playing in late April and May, when most of these other rookies are shut down for a developmental summer. So between him and Edey, I think it's a great testament to how the Grizzlies have embraced 2 rookies in the starting lineup. And yet, they're very much a playoff contender. We'll see how these guys react when the games get, even more intense. But by playoff time, they're not rookies anymore, right? They've had an 82-game season behind them, and I would expect that it should be fairly seamless for Wells and Edey.
Steve, man, we definitely appreciate your time. We kept you double the time that I told you we were going to set aside for you, man, and that's because you've been an education and an inspiration for Grizz Beat for us here on the panel. So we definitely appreciate you. And let me know what your playoff schedule is going to be, because we would definitely love to have you back on from location somewhere around whatever series you're covering. So thanks a lot for everything that you've done and everything that you continue to do for NBA and NBA.com.
Well, I hope I get the Phoenix Forum because I was you were my local team for a couple of years when we were living in Nashville, and I turned to the Grizzly games on League Pass, almost as a first reflex, just because I find that team so fun and fascinating to watch.
Lot, man.
Thanks, Steve.
Steve Ashburner, NBA.com senior reporter, has done a tremendous job, contributes to NBA TV and all of the other assets that NBA.com has over there with Turner and the broadcast station. When we come back, we got some other matters to get to, including what's ahead for the Grizzlies and also our reflections on a remarkable, magical night here at FedEx Forum last Saturday with Tony Allen's number 9 going into the rafters. It's that and more on Grizz Beat when we come back.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Debo traded from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th round pick. There's no other sport where you would get a player of his ilk for a 5th round pick.
Over under total yards for Debo. If they set it at 1,000, you think he hits that over?
Total yards?
Total yards from scrimmage, total yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
The wind is blowing on the courtyard at FedEx Forum, but man, we got a lot more things to go to tell you about here on Grizz Beat. But first, our first thing we have to do, if you got that little late afternoon kind of munchy kind of feeling, everybody gets that time. It's time to go behind the glass to CJ, because he has got our Sonic mailbag question of the week. CJ, you hungry boy? Hit
munchies? I've got the munchies, and Sonic is your munchie pit stop. I'm telling you, they are the place to go if you got the munchies. The tater tots are delicious.
Ooh.
The burgers are delicious. Jarvo, I don't know if you know this.
What's that?
It's nice outside. It's real nice outside, Jarvis.
Yeah, it is.
Do me a favor, if you can hear my voice, and everybody in Memphis can hear it because I'm shouting.
Yes, you are.
Take the kids to Sonic. Get them a slush. Get them a milkshake.
Yeah.
I love mixing my slushes. Give me a little bit of that strawberry cherry, maybe a cherry lemon slush. Give me some of that. Throw some watermelon in it. And don't get me started
Exotic.
about the Sonic Blast. Woo! Now remember,
what's that?
BLJ's on the street looking for you.
Yes,
He'll
he
ask
is.
you a question. If he asks you a question, you answer it. He'll give you a $5 gift card that you can use at any Sonic, baby! Whether you have the munchies or not! BLJ! What's the question?
Yo, it's your best hype man, BLJ, here with Lauren. Lauren, you got a question for me. We had a conversation. Go ahead and ask your question.
So we have the best backcourt in the NBA.
That's right. I like that question. So we need to ask y'all. So with Ja and Bane, is that the best backcourt in the NBA right now? You say yes?
Yes.
I say yes. What do y'all say?
All right, that is the Sonic mailbag question. I'm hungry. CJ, you made me hungry there, man. I got to get my Yale on and my food on. I got them, yeah. The best backcourt in the NBA, Ja and Dez, when they are healthy, I will say yes. What does Greg Gaston of Sports 56 say?
They're one of the top 3, I think, in the NBA.
Top 3?
Yes.
Who's better?
I like Garland and Mitchell. I like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Lou Dort, who's one of the best lockdown defenders. And then I put Dez and Ja. But if we see more of those guys together, then maybe they shoot up the number 1 for me.
All right. So what does the guru of Grind City Media, the great Michael Wallace,
That's a
have to chime
great
in with?
backcourt that you mentioned that you put ahead of them. I would also throw in Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges.
From the Knickerbockers.
Because of their durability, and they both play on both ends.
Durability. There's that thing again, man. What
so
the heck?
you got to be able to be out there to get there. Now,
Right.
talent-wise, upside, yes, Ja. There's not a more talented backcourt in terms of what Ja does that complements what Dez does. But in terms of being out there, man, like you look at the minutes in the games that until Brunson just got hurt that those two guys have played, it's been a remarkable run.
Now, if you said if she has most electric backcourt, it's not even close. As far as must watch, must see, those two guys together, Dez and Ja, Nothing
It's
close
debatable,
to
though.
that.
They're top 4. They're top 5 for sure.
Well, now you're getting farther down the total poll there because I said without a doubt. He says top 3. Greg says top 3. Now you say top 4. There's all kind of parameters that you can judge it by.
Yeah.
Like when you say exciting, totally. When you say their usefulness, I don't know with all the analytic numbers and all that stuff, but when you got those guys on the court together, Ja can drive the mid-range, the yamming on people's head. Dez, the sniper, the professional shooter. And both are capable of getting you 40 points because they have done it.
Yes, they have, but you got to throw defense in there as well. That's why I still like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's the MVP. Lou Dort is one of the best perimeter lockdown defenders.
Yes, he is.
And he can also hit threes. So that combination is really, really good. I mean, you got a good one that's brewing in Los Angeles. You're considering LeBron front court, then you're looking now at Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves is coming off a 37-point
That
game.
combination has looked pretty good. It's still not. It's not Des Ja, but it's right up there.
That's a really good question, and I'm glad that the young lady put that question out there and put Ja and Dez out there. Maybe that's one for the entire NBA that they'll look at. Now let's take a look at as far as the entire NBA. It is time for our Grizz Beat Power Poll, the weekly show where we put the teams where we think Michael Wallace thinks they're supposed to be. And so take a look at the power poll right now. This is the weekly power poll. Of course, the Thunder, the Cavs, the Celtics, they are all up there at the top because they are just really better pretty much than everybody else. The Rockets moving up with a bullet, jumping 5 spots there with a 44-25 record. I think they've won 7 straight now. Then the Denver Nuggets with Nikola Jokic is coming along. Jamal Murray is picking up his scoring. The Knicks have been pretty much there all year. Golden State jumping up in their number 7 now. The Warriors, once they made the trade to bring Jimmy Butler over, they have been winning like you can't believe. The Lakers are in pretty good. LeBron's still out, though. He's going to be back in a couple of days with that groin injury. We'll see. The Grizzlies down 1, and you have to do it. The Grizzlies are 5-5 or 6-4 in their last 10, one or the other. I looked at it for a second, but they are not trending in the right direction right now. We got to get the Grizzle back to Grizzle status. And then the Timberwolves are kind of on the move now. Anthony Edwards and company are starting to come back up. What strikes you about the poll, Greg Gaston?
Well, this doesn't strike me because Michael knows basketball. It's perfect, I think. It's a great top 10. I love the order. One thing I would add is others receiving votes has to be the LA Clippers. The Clippers just knocked off the Cavaliers yesterday. They're a team on the rise. Maybe not in the top 10 yet, but they got to be sitting there at 11.
Yeah, they're right there. I mean, the Clippers are definitely right there. Big time win over the Cavaliers. Cleveland has lost 2 in a row. They went from 16 straight to now dropping 2 in a row from that standpoint, which is why the Thunder sort of took back over that number 1 spot from that standpoint. But I think the team, like this week, man, the Rockets, like those guys are rolling right now. And you look at everyone around the Grizzlies in the West, and they've all played well. Minnesota is on a surge. Golden State is 14-3 with Jimmy Butler. Right, the Lakers sort of bounce back now. We'll see where they are with when LeBron comes back, and it's just going to be a dog fight to the end in the West over these last 3 weeks.
Yeah, when you look at it, the Grizzlies are 5-5 in their last 10. Golden State 8-2. The T-Wolves 8-2. The Clippers 7-3 in their last 10, and that's because
and those are the teams below you. Like that's the,
that's what's scary about it.
Yeah,
now the Grizz have a 3-game lead over the Warriors, and with 13 left to go, you think, okay, that's pretty good. The Grizz should be able to hang on to that. You don't want to drop into the play-in if you can help it. And the Grizzlies will get people back into the lineup. We're seeing Santi may come back tonight, and that's going to help. Ja's going to come back and play at some point. I doubt they'll keep him out the whole time. If this hamstring is just maybe a slight little tweak, let him rest it a little bit. Nobody's going to be too crazy about that. But we are down here at the last end of the season, as they say. My grandmother used to say, "This is the last end," and this is pretty much it. We've gone through. I think spring is tomorrow. We've already had what do you call it?
Groundhog's Day.
Yeah,
St.
Groundhog
Patrick's
Day.
Day?
We've already had
St.
that.
Patrick's and Groundhogs.
We've had all that stuff. So now the flowers are coming up, and let's hope that the Grizz will be able to smell some as we go ahead. Smell the flowers as we go down to the stretch run of the season. We're past the stretch run of the season. This is basically putting a bow on it right now. And talking about putting a bow on it, the Grizzlies at FedEx Forum on Saturday night put the bow on one of the members of the Core Four, one of the most flamboyant members of the Core Four, and that is the great, before we go let's see here. Let's hit that right there. Tony Allen's jersey was retired. The number 9 went to the rafters, in one of the greatest ceremonies of a player ever, in my opinion. While we were on spring break, I didn't get to see it live and in person, but I saw all the tweets, I saw all the videos, and I saw all the love coming from the fans. Not a dry eye in the house. TA was crying, his mama was crying, the fans were crying, everybody was laughing and having a great time. Channel 5, I know Jonathan Mitchell, the GM over there, is worried about if he's got to pay an FCC fine because of all the colorful language, but it was real, man. And that's what TA is. TA is a real one, and you won't get anybody more real than Tony Allen. And to have his jersey raised to the rafters in FedEx Forum is just something that is totally Memphis.
Jarvo, they broke the mold, man, when they made Tony Allen. There's nothing like this guy. A guy who would only average whatever he did and still have his jersey retired tells you how important he was to this organization, to the core four, one of the great defensive players in the NBA. Yeah, the other two enshrinements or the numbers being put up into the rafters for Marc Gasol, very quiet, reserved. For Zach Randolph, very quiet, a little bit shy at times, right? Then you had Tony Allen. This was flamboyant. This was incredible to watch. I enjoyed it because, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get down to FedEx Forum, but I watched it on television, and it was, as you said, one of the best ceremonies I've ever seen. And Tony just went off. He went off script. He was pure Tony Allen. So I just want to say shout out, TA. You deserve everything. You deserve that night. And I'm glad that there was a lot of people that were there, all his friends and family, to enjoy it with him.
And the great Michael Wallace, one thing about Tony Allen, he went through with the microphone to all the people that were there that came in. Like Quincy Pondexter was here. He gave a shout out to Coupon about how hard he went against him in practice. And Tony said, man, what do you do? He said, look, this is what they're going to do to you in the game. And Tony recognized that and took that to heart and said, well, oh yeah, work me hard, because this is my way to get in and keep myself relevant. And also he gave a big shout out to Rudy Gay, Michael Wallace, who would have been an original member of the core four had he not gotten the injury and they decided to move on from him. Tony Allen comes in and just talked about Rudy and what he meant. And then Paul Pierce coming in from the Celtics. The Celtics said he never should have been in Memphis. The players wanted him. The coach wanted him to stay, but Danny Ainge and company decided to move on. He comes to Memphis, and it was to our benefit.
Yeah, I enjoyed every moment of that, and to get to see Tony come up in here in this studio, this building every week.
Right.
He's always available. He loves to sit down and talk to you.
Call you Killer. What's up, Killer?
Day, yeah, he's approachable. I've worked with him on so many different projects in my 8-9 seasons here with the Grizzlies. Is that to see him get emotional and to see him get the flowers of that going up in the rafters, to see his kids growing up.
Yes.
And to see the moment that he had with his mom.
Right.
And I think that right there was the moment that got me in an emotional night because, they didn't have a lot, right? She knew that she was lucky for him to even make it out of that neighborhood.
Right.
And for him to not only make it out of that neighborhood, that's enough to cry over right there. Hey, he got to something other than where he was. But to go from that to this, like, man, you can't imagine. Like, she, as a mother and as a parent, and we all are, our parents, there's certain things that we want our children to achieve, but none of us could ever imagine them being immortalized somewhere, right? And for her to see that, to get to see that in her lifetime, is something that, I took away from that being the most impactful moment to me.
And the biggest thing about it to me is the fact that it happened here, right here in River City, in our town, and like he and Zach Randolph did the interview, a walk-off interview with Doris Burke, said, it's a blue-collar city, I'm a blue-collar guy, it's a fit. And then Tony Allen comes over with the all-heart, grit, grind, and it's just things that put the stamp on this city. I mean, this is what we are. These players embodied what this city is. And it's like you get knocked down. It's like, well, Tony's favorite song was Future, Go Harder. I'm going to go hard. You knock me down, I'm going to get up, go harder. And that's what we all aspire to. And that's why, when we're lucky enough, like all my life as a kid, I wanted to have a major league franchise to support. We've had all these off-brand leagues here in Memphis. I was growing up, we had AA baseball. Now we got AAA, which is great. We've had all these off-brand, we had the ABA for a while, which was pretty good, but it wasn't the NBA. We had the WFL and this and that and all the other. It wasn't the it. Now we've got the it right here, and the players like Tony Allen come up and they want to represent us. How many times do you remember seeing Tony Allen flex the Memphis on his chest with first team all defense? And that's all of us. We are all embodied in that.
And Jarvo, here's the other thing too. Not only did he do it while he was here as a player, but he's embraced the city since he retired.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't go to Boston where he won a championship. He's back and forth with Chicago where that's his hometown. Home. This is his town now. This is his city. As Michael said, he's here all the time, right here.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Allen embraced Memphis.
He's among us.
He fell in love with this city, which I think also sends a message to other players out there. Why not Memphis?
He was
Why
an
not
ambassador for the
here?
airport, for goodness sake. How many times you go to the airport and you see a big cutout of Tony Allen,
right.
number 9, Tony Allen, and it's like it's one of those things that makes us us. It makes Memphis Memphis. And these players, the players for the core 4, they've all grasped that. I have no idea what it's going to be like when Mike Conley finally retires and he comes in. All the players are going to be here. Mark came in for the Tony Allen night. Zebo was already here. He has a place here still. Mike couldn't make it because of the weather. He wanted to. Minnesota had an off night, but it was bad weather. It
was horrible. Yes.
Yeah, and he just could not get here, but he did do the video tribute. And then when Mike happens, and it's just going to be crazy. There's going to be a statue. I will predict. Mm-hmm. I will predict there will be a statue of the Core 4 out in front of FedEx Forum, and that we are all going to be just enjoy that moment here. And that's what we're all about. And that's what this is all about. Getting the people, the fans involved, and getting the city involved, and the things that the Grizzlies do with they got the Grizzlies House and they have Grizzlies Academy where, you're educating young minds, young boys to become men, and the charitable organizations and all of that. And not to mention what goes on the court with all the, you got the alley-oops and you got the thises and the that, and you get to see the best players from around the world come right here. The focus is on Memphis, Tennessee, and we all appreciate that. I know I do, and I'm sure you all do out there. Do we have time to do the standings, Michael? What do you think?
Let's go.
All right, let's take a look at the standings real quick before we wrap this up here on Grizz Beat, and you'll see where we are right now with 13 games to go, and we're getting ready to head toward the playoffs. The Thunder, they're running away with it. Houston is they had a cold snap there for a minute, but they've gotten back hot. They are in second place, but look, there's you could put a thin dime between second and fifth right now. That's how close it is. The Grizzlies they're in fifth place. They're a game out of second. Mm-hmm. Come on, anything can happen down this stretch run. We like Dallas, as you mentioned earlier. Sacramento got a win over the Grizzlies, but they're kind of like too far out now to really be in the mix. The Clippers, you really have to watch them because they're healthy now, and health is what it's all about in the NBA. Whoever the healthiest teams win.
You got 3 battles going on. You got a battle there between 2 and 5. You got a battle with 6, 7, and 8,
mm-hmm.
right? You have a couple of teams, Minnesota, the Clippers are trying to get into the playoffs, avoid the play-in. And then Dallas is hanging on. They have nobody left on their team. I think Michael's signing a 10-day.
The point guard from Grambling.
And whether or not Phoenix wants to put the effort in. But Portland, and it comes back full circle to the Grizzlies game tonight. Portland still has a chance to get into that 10th spot. So 3 different battles going on at the same time in the Western Conference.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's going to be intriguing, right?
Yes, it will.
So you're almost in the playoffs right now. The play-in has already started, essentially, because you got teams that are still jockeying. Big-time game tonight when you talk about the Grizzlies at number 5 and Portland at number 12. Neither one of these teams can afford too many more losses.
Is this the dreaded 5-12 matchup?
There it is. That's a great segue. That's a great
the Tigers and
segue. So
NCAA.
This is going to be fun going down the stretch right here, man. And what the Grizzlies have coming up is also going to be intriguing too, because they finish out this road trip. When you look at what's ahead for the Grizzlies,
take a look at the week ahead right now, man. This is so important for the Grizzlies coming up here, because you could say that, you're in 5th, you could be in 2nd. Heck, you could be trying to stave off Golden State coming up from behind. At Portland tonight, at the Clippers on Friday night, and they're red hot right now. And then the Utah Jazz. Utah almost beat Memphis here in their last meeting. They're going to want to avoid getting swept by the Grizzlies this season. That is a Tuesday night game on the road in Salt Lake City. So all these games, so much riding on these games right now. And I don't know what the analytics say. I don't know what the load management says and all of that business. But, you got to put some bodies out there. Some people's going to have to play. And so the Grizzlies can try to keep a good position going into the playoffs.
And Michael, they got OKC on the road after that one.
Yeah.
This is a five game road swing right now, and they've already dropped their first one.
So, you know, it's all big. It's all big for the Grizz right now. And so hopefully when we come back to you next week on this program, we will see the Grizzlies sitting pretty in second place or third or fourth or fifth. But you don't want to drop any farther than where you are right now. If it happens, there's still a little time to get back up because the Grizzlies have a tough record. Some of these other teams got tough records too. And then you're going to run into the deal where there are teams that are going, okay, we're going to rest somebody because, you know, we are where we are. We're good. We're going to rest a few people. That's going to happen. But we're not going to rest because we're going to be up and on it. We're going to be staying up late tonight, have our eyeballs on this Portland game. We know you're going to watch it too. And Greg Gaskin, we want to thank you for joining us on this edition of Grizz Beat. It's always nice to have you come in. You didn't say squadouche. I was waiting for the squadouche to come
I'll
out.
save that for next time. Hopefully there's another invite. Thank you guys for having me as always.
Absolutely.
Always appreciate it.
And, of course, we've got the guru of Grind City Media himself, the great Michael Wallace, as my grandson calls him, and CJ behind the glass with the Sonic mailbag, man. It's just, we got a great crew here, and we know that you'll enjoy coming back in next week to see us right here at 2 o'clock next Wednesday for another edition of Grizz Beat. Until then, we'll see you then. Let's get some wins. How about that?
That's game. Thanks for running with us for another episode of Grizz Beat. Join us each Wednesday.